Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is 4:30 a.m. Dubai time, and I think it's a new record for the channel. But what's also a new record is the Bitcoin spot ETFs, because yesterday the ETF saw a record volume, not volume, but net flow, even better, of over $1 billion. And how that's reflecting on price, we're going to be getting into in the very short term Bitcoin. We had this reversal candle forming. On the previous video, I mentioned that don't be scared with this wick to $69,000. We discussed it was a possibility anyways, but this reversal candle would likely take us back to the 74K territory, and we hit $73,600 for the past 6 consecutive days. Bitcoin has been hitting new all-time highs, and after hitting a new all-time high, Bitcoin, we do experience a small reversal. Now it's getting smaller. It used to be a lot larger. To me, this is incredibly bullish. But in today's video, we'll discuss the bearish divergence that's forming, if I'm planning on taking profits or what am I doing with my trade, and how the Denkun upgrade is reflected on the price of Ethereum. Is there any changes? But yeah, that's going to be the video. So stay tuned until the end. Smash up the like button. Turn on the notification bell. That's super important because you do not want to miss out any video in this bull market, because every single video is going to be crucial for the price. TikTok, by the way, got banned in the United States, and just that's the breaking update. We can see my friend Mario, he's hosting the space here already, but yeah, TikTok got banned, and it looks like a lot of other apps could be getting banned too. That's what the bill says. Interesting stuff going on. But regardless, if we go into the 4 hourly time frame for Bitcoin, we can go into everything else. But first, we need to start off traditionally like we do with the Bitcoin TA. So as I said, it's looking bullish. I think 74K is still possible, but because we got very close to it, and now that we have this bearish divergence forming on the price, it's possible that we do expect a reversal in the short term. Where would this reversal take us? First of all, I think 71.4 is good support, and then $69,000 once again. Would I be looking to take profits? Of course, not financial advice, but if you have huge leveraged long positions, maybe now is a good time to be taking profit from them. Personally, I have very low leverage positions, both on the $10,000 trading challenge that we have on the channel and my personal account too. So they're very low leverage, and they have entries that are at like $43,000, $30,000. So I'm not worried about them at all. But if you do have high leveraged long positions, maybe 74.1 or even now could be a place to be taking some partial profits. Remember, like, we're in uncharted territories for Bitcoin. We can't really say, all right, this is resistance and this is support. We can say support, of course, but resistance, since we don't have price higher than where we are right now, we can't reflect back on previous price action and expect reversals. That's the only thing we have going on. But remember, Bitcoin is still within this parabola, and it's interesting. I was just analyzing the parabola a couple of minutes ago. If we jump back into the monthly time frame, you can see that on textbook, this is how the parabola is taught. So you have base 1, base 2, and then after base 3, you have a huge breakout. And at that point, the price of the asset can double in price within a very short period of time. Then you have base 4, the final point of the parabola, and then the selling point. If we compare the current parabola forming to the previous cycles, we can see that, yeah, that's basically what happened in a majority of the cycles. Maybe not exactly as clean as it is right now. This was the second halving was a beautiful parabola. But this time around, we can see it's playing by textbook. We had base 1 forming back in November of 2022. Then we had base 2 forming in summer of 2023. And then base 3 was just very recently after retesting this parabola. We broke out of it. We broke out of this prior resistance, which was created from the ETF launches, and the price of Bitcoin has almost pretty much doubled. So if we look at it from a definition basis, we can see that this parabola currently has a resistance of $84,000, assuming that, you know, from base 3 onwards we would double in price. So I think 84K is a good price to be looking out for alongside 74K. There's a $10,000 difference, but we've not even hit base 4 yet. Nobody knows when that point is going to be, when we're going to be seeing that consolidation, final push towards the upside and breakdown from the parabola to, in my opinion, $47,000 in the very long term. Could be a beautiful spot for Bitcoin to retrace to. This cycle is different to everything else, which is clearly stated by the incredible inflows that we're seeing from the Bitcoin ETFs. So at this point in time, anything could be expected, and the best way to hedge yourself against that risk of both going a lot higher or seeing a reversal towards the downside is, in my opinion, DCing into Bitcoin, buying and holding. Like, I got a question asked today: don't you think it's too expensive to buy Bitcoin now? Probably now is not a time to buy. And I'm like, no, every day is a time to be buying. Every day is a time to be buying Bitcoin, because you want to hedge yourself against what's going on across the world. We have incredible inflation across so many different areas. I found this incredible data. The data itself, because it's presented so nicely, is incredible, but the summation of it, the conclusion that you get from it, is not the best. We can see in 4 decades, rent has gone up by 4 times. In the past 3 years, we're seeing 20% of an increase in food staples. On top of that, energy prices are up between 23 to 63%. And most importantly, meats, poultry, fish, eggs, real food, it just keeps getting more expensive. These are not the greatest things at all, and it's concerning in my opinion. We can see that right now everybody's highlighting a potential soft landing. That's why stocks are rallying and gold is rallying, because money is pouring into the stock market whenever the mention of soft landing comes in, whenever we have inflation, interest rates. So like, now is a very interesting time in the market. This was something I posted many weeks ago, and yesterday I posted an update since December of 2023 because I came across this chart over here. So I mentioned that soft landing is mentioned multiple times in media, and then usually we go out into a full-blown recession. Here we can see that very interestingly, exactly right before a recession, the media bursts the phrase soft landing across so many articles, and then a year or 2 years later, we end up going into a huge recession. It happened in the 2000s, it happened in right before the 2008 recession, and now it's happening once again, and it's at levels never seen since 1995. And with all of this bearish data, with the national debt increasing without an upper limit until 2025. These are very worrying factors to be on the lookout for, at least. And maybe we don't see the recession in the next 2 months or 3 months, but probably within the next 1 to 2 years, it could be ideal to be on the lookout. How is this going to reflect on the price of Bitcoin? That's the question that I wanted to cycle back into. I think as the stock market rallies, gold rallies, it will affect the price of Bitcoin, meaning there will be a positive correlation. Bitcoin will follow it. If there's a reversal, I think Bitcoin will also experience a reversal. There's more control over Bitcoin by Wall Street. BlackRock now owns 1% of the entire supply. And that's why I think Bitcoin will follow whatever the S&P and whatever gold does. Perhaps the increased upside risk is going to be much more than what we're going to be seeing with gold or the stock market. The downside risk is always, it is always much more heightened if we go back in history. But if the United States dollar begins to devalue at a fast rate, I think that Bitcoin would take advantage of that, like we saw with what happened with the Egyptian pound. Egyptian pound devalued by approximately 37% last week, and we can see in 1 week's candle, Bitcoin rallied by 112%. Just something to put out there. But anyways, other than that, I think Bitcoin does look pretty good in the macro. In the short term, as I said, 74K is a place to be watching out for. And then for that parabola, we have a hypothetical imaginary number of $84,000. So that's the current market sentiment. In terms of the flows, right, we saw Grayscale only experience outflows of $79 million. That's incredibly bullish from where I'm sitting. And the reason for this is, we talked about this on the previous video, GBTC launched a new mini Grayscale ETF, which is called BTC. I think I mentioned this a couple of months ago as well. Like, that is super bullish because the new mini fund has a lot less fees compared to the current ETF. And that's why I think this is incentivizing current GBTC holders to keep their assets and not sell, because they could switch into the mini ETF if they want to reduce their fee exposure. But other than that, like, this amount is super bullish. The supply and demand dynamics do not meet at all. As a matter of fact, on the 12th of March, Tuesday, we saw 16 times more demand compared to the supply released into the Bitcoin network. And that is an incredible number. It's absolutely fantastic. We can see that in terms of adoption, this is an incredible chart shared by Willy Woo. Bitcoin has roughly the same users as the internet had in 1997, so before the entire tech boom. But Bitcoin is growing faster. In the next 4 years on the current path, it's expected that Bitcoin will bring 1 billion people. So 1 billion people would be having access to Bitcoin and using it. And I think that's a realistic number in more hyperinflationary countries. countries, Bitcoin is becoming a legal tender. It's getting accepted. People are switching to Bitcoin to hedge themselves against inflation. And all of that will probably result to over 1 billion people using the Bitcoin network in the upcoming years. What I love is that Jack Dorsey, the original founder of Twitter, he's probably one of the biggest maxis for Bitcoin. And that just, to me, that's incredible. Like on this day in 2006, 1 year before I was born, Jack Dorsey began programming Twitter, and him leaving to focus on blockchain, like that's just such an incredible thing for me, in my personal opinion. But let's move on to Ethereum. Because the Ethereum Denkun upgrade took place a couple of hours back. The price didn't see much of a reflection. That's why I skipped it in terms of technical analysis. We're still trading at good resistance of 3.990. I took profit at 395 and 3990. Now I'm watching to see what happens on the market. Personally, I think Ethereum is a little bit overextended here, and it's possible that we see a short-term correction. There's no news coming from the Ethereum spot ETFs. If we compare it with the Bitcoin spot ETF cycle, 90 days out from the approval, usually we do end up seeing some sort of remarks or the S1 filings or whatever, but it's a bit too quiet in the market from what I'm seeing. However, I think the Denkun upgrade regardless is super bullish because it improves scalability of Ethereum itself. The problem we had with the internet, the problem that we had with electricity even, was that they were not scalable when they first started out. Electricity was limited to direct current power, DC power. Until alternating current came around, we had to use huge like cables to power the smallest of things, and it was not sustainable. With the internet, we have to extend huge fiber optic cables across the oceans and to get it to billions of people worldwide. Everybody called both the internet and electricity a fad, believe it or not. Now everybody uses the internet, everybody uses electricity. In fact, electricity powers the internet. So the same thing is happening here with blockchain. Currently, the problem with Ethereum was that it was super expensive to develop on or to use its underlying products. And now that layer 2s have significantly reduced fees, I think this is super bullish for the overall network. And in the macro, I think Ethereum is great, a great choice to be potentially DCing other than Bitcoin itself, because yes, we do have Ethereum killers like Solana, etc. And I was thinking about this myself, like yes, we do have all of these Ethereum killers and everything, but I think like Bitcoin, because Ethereum is an OG and already so many products have developed on Ethereum, I do think in the macro, it has a good way to go. And this takes me to the altcoin portfolio that we built with Mr. M that I wanted to give a quick update on, because it's now up like $765. If you've not watched the video, I'll put it as a card on the top right-hand section so you can go watch it after I finish this off, but it's a must watch. We went through so many interesting projects. You can see Toncoin has been the best performer so far, 53% up, unbelievable. Planet, which was the sponsor of that video, Messi just posted it on his Instagram story a couple of hours back. I think it's now expired, but it took you to this page where the RWA mint, where you get a physical product, so the physical, actual sustainable shoe created by the recycled waste collected from Messi's hometown river. You can get a signed pair, and by using the token itself, you can get a 30% discount. So that's why I think the token can do very well, in my opinion, in the next two days and 16 hours. And if you want to do your own research, you can buy it on Bybit as well. So do check it out. But very interesting that Messi's sharing it. And Messi's been my idol for so many years, and it's remarkable that he, alongside Ronaldo, is involved in crypto and blockchain. But moving on, Saylor is a genius. We all know Saylor is a genius. He actually bought $500 million more of Bitcoin today, in addition to the $821.7 million he purchased the day before with the convertible senior notes that he offered, which Coinbase has also done for $1 billion, funnily enough. Saylor, I think, is the biggest genius of our lifetime. He now holds over $15 billion worth of Bitcoin in MicroStrategy, and they're up 116%. But that pretty much sums up everything I wanted to cover. Very importantly, Elon Musk shared this, and I found it very interesting. So you can see that he posted this photo of somebody on X tweeting, "These scam coins are getting crazy." Someone just showed me was that a coin that has $27 trillion in circulation, unlimited supply cap, only one node, 25% of the supply minted in the last 6 months, and 1% of holders own 30%. JK, that's the US dollar. And this is the thing that I'm trying to get at. Like, the fundamentals of economics are not looking great at all However, Bitcoin and the stock markets, and Bitcoin is fine because Bitcoin's supposed to hedge you against that. But the stock market, it's going into new all-time highs, unseen levels, and I just don't think it's normal when the economy is this bad. And fun fact, Bitcoin to reach actually a new all-time high adjusted to inflation. So in 2021, Bitcoin was at 69K. Now that value is on today's value in terms of USD, it's $76,500. So technically speaking, Bitcoin has not yet reached an all-time high in terms of inflation adjusted values. But yeah, just something interesting that I wanted to share. Ladies and gents, that ends up today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a blessed Ramadan, everyone. It is 4:45 a.m. So just having suhoor after I finish this video. Hopefully I can finish up quick and then go back to sleep. But everybody have a nice day, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video very shortly. Take care and bye-bye.